Not until the aftermath of World War II and its atrocities did issues concerning civil liberties and human rights once more gain worldwide attention. At that point, there was political resolve and popular support to have stronger monitoring and enforcement of minimum international standards of human rights. The United Nations was formed in 1948, and one of its first acts was the adoption of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. It established a fundamental set of standards for countries to follow. However, the declaration was limited in that individuals could not enforce these rights against governments. At the same time as the United Nations Declaration was being written, there was a movement in Europe to identify and institute a Charter of Fundamental Rights and Freedoms. The International Committee of the Movements for European Unity organized a congress in 1948, at which it resolved that a body representing different states be established with a remit to draft a Charter of Rights. This charter, based on the United Nations Declaration, was adopted as the European Convention on Human Rights by the Council of Europe in 1950 and was ratified by the United Kingdom in 1951. However, petition by individuals to the European Court of Human Rights in Strasbourg was not allowed by the United Kingdom government until 1966. The granting of the right of individual petition subsequently resulted in Britain becoming one of the countries with most cases before the court. The increasing awareness of human rights in the United Kingdom and the growth of a rights culture may have been partly responsible for these large numbers. The fact that the United Kingdom did not have a bill or charter of rights embedded in its constitution may also have resulted in more cases being taken to Europe because of the absence of relevant legislation to redress wrongs in this country. A movement grew through the 1980s and 1990s for the incorporation of the European Convention on Human Rights into domestic law, and the Labour Party included a promise to do this in their manifesto prior to the 1997 general election. The outcome was a white paper entitled Rights Brought Home, the Human Rights Bill. Following the publication of this bill, the Human Rights Act was enacted in 1998.
I'm Frederica Smith. I'm a filmmaker and a human rights activist. Human Rights Act 1998 was put together in 1950 to reinforce human rights acts within Europe and around the world, so the horrors of the World War II and slavery doesn't reoccur again.
See, these brothers here are trying to help everyone on the streets and everyone in the parties and the diplomats and saying we can have a better future and a better lives between all of us as long as we all unite together and do peaceful things, you understand? But what do people don't understand is that the police have come around, they got things written on the van saying make London a better place. But how's it better when they want to beat us up? When we ain't done nothing wrong. Because I'm wearing what I'm wearing, they look at me and say, fuck, I ain't a fuck, I'm a working man, I'm a rapper, I do my music, I take my shit to heart, you understand? But let me show you something. This is what police do to people, innit? When they don't get their own way in it. Let me show you, yeah? See? Things like that ain't right. You understand? That ain't right for no one, cuz, yeah? Man do what I do to survive, fair enough, man. I'm a music artist, innit, man. Love my shit, innit, yeah? But don't give the right for POLICE, boy them, to take the piss, you understand? Listen, my name's JJ, Jamie, aka Lyrical, you see me YouTube, whatever. just make sure you lot unite together with them, you understand? If you look to your left, you see exactly what I'm talking about.
We know that it prevents people from getting tortured, and it means that we are entitled to kind of freedom of speech and other such things. It basically protects the people in society. Well, I don't agree with the Tories whatsoever. I think they're all a bunch of bastards. We should probably wait and see what they're proposing in the British Bill of Human Rights before we start jumping to conclusions about what happens to the Human Rights Act.
Nice. My name is Hamza. I'm from London, and in terms of the Conservatives trying to abolish the Human Rights Act, I don't agree with it at all. I know in the run-up to the referendum, there's a lot of things that they want to change, and I understand the point where they want to have sovereignty over their own laws and over their land and over the rules and the policies. I understand that part. However, there are certain things that you need to be able to put in place, or that have been set in place, to limit those powers. And the Human Rights Act of 1998 is one of them, and as part of an oversight of that is, of course, you've got the European Court of Human Rights that you can also, again, appeal to because they're a member of the European Union. Now, repealing the Human Rights Act itself, it's one of those things that it's like it has a domino effect. They take out one little bit of it, say, no, we're just going to change this little bit here. And then they get away with that. And they're going to take away another little bit, and they get away with that. And then before you know it, they've taken away half of it. And before you know it, there's no Human Rights Act at all. And they'll say, no, actually, no, we're going to replace it with something that's very similar, but we will have control of it within our own courts. And whilst I don't necessarily disagree with that idea of replacing it with something that they have control over in the courts, I haven't seen the alternative. I haven't seen what they want to replace it with. All they have said is actually, no, we just want to make some changes here. But what are those changes going to be, and what is this alternative going to be? The Human Rights Act is not a European law, it's a British law that has been enacted based on principles that they adhere to across the world. Now, the Human Rights Act has protected a lot of people. It's protected a lot of people that we don't like. It's protected a lot of people that we don't want. It's protected a lot of bad people. But even bad people are human. And every human has rights. So human rights don't just apply to the people that you like or the people that you agree with. Human rights appeals to everyone.
All I'll say is that, you know what? No matter who you are and what you do, never let no one ever take your rights from you. Nobody takes your rights from you because that's all you got.
Well, I'm hoping that we'll have a revolution because it's wrong to get rid of it. But whether that'll happen, I don't know. I think that people from different countries that live here will end up being incredibly vulnerable and possibly put in situations where they might be sort of tortured or left alone, or the government will get away with not caring about people that they really should care about.
I think that everyone's either going to leave or get very, very angry.
Well, I know there's protests going on at the moment. There's protests being booked up right the way through to November. It's like the calendar's absolutely full of them. So I hope that the voice of the people can be heard and something can be done about it. I think we need to protest, and I think we need to make sure we keep the Human Rights Act.
I know that it was invented by the EU, and that's probably the only reason that it's going to be scrapped, because there seems to be a lot of Euroscepticism at the moment in the government, which is awful. But I think, there doesn't seem to be any logical reason why they would need to scrap that, and I think that we need to be as loud and vocal as possible to try and keep that, because we're going to lose integral parts, and that's stupid. So fuck you, David. I know that we lose things like the right to a fair protest, and I don't know if they're going to be replaced because I'm not entirely sure. But I know he wants to introduce the Bill of Rights, but I haven't got any kind of information about what that means, and if they're getting rid of it, then I can't imagine that it's going to be something that's going to benefit me much.
It's necessary for that to happen because we're back into slavery if this so-called Human Rights Act 1988 is abolished by the ruling party or the ruling government at the moment. Because within their manifesto they did say they are going to abolish it. And if people don't stand up to that for that to still stay or not abolished, then we're back to square one, really, because the freedom of speech, freedom of movement, all our rights Imagine living in your house, people just come in and take it, or take you out of your house and say to you that it's legal for them to do it. Just like the echoes of slavery. To one person, slavery was a legal act. And I don't think that humanity wants these inhumane acts to keep on going on. So Britain, need to wake up and then make sure that we are saying to the government in power, we need a referendum for us to say whether we want to go along with these inhumane acts or not.